Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Aussie Starcraft. We're bringing you a great game between two excellent players. Today I thought I'd cast a bit of Terran versus Protoss, mix it up a little bit from the plentiful Terran versus Zerg games that we've been seeing on the channel lately, and I came across this replay and just couldn't help but cast it. And the reason for that are the two players involved. In the bottom right hand corner we have Team Millennium's ForGG, and for those of you that don't know ForGG, he's a fantastic Terran player, particularly well known for his excellent Terran vs Terran, has a phenomenally high win rate in PvT matchups, and those of you that have watched any of the Acer Team Story Cups will be very familiar with his play. The reason for that is he tends to be Team Millennium's ace in the hole, and is used to take out all of the other team's dominant Terran players. So whenever there's a Terran that needs taking out to the laundry, it's ForGG that gets the job. So excellent TVT. We'll see if his TVP is up to scratch as he takes on our blue Protoss. In the top left hand corner is Alliance Naniwa, and so I think just about everyone must know Naniwa. If you've seen any of the tournaments, particularly lately, you'll know Naniwa. He's a bit of a character, very funny, has a lot of attitude, wears his wristbands of power when he plays. I don't know, I like Naniwa. I think he's quite funny. Does get a bit carried away sometimes, I think, but he's quite funny, and a lot of a bit of Starcraft culture has sort of come from his attitude at tournaments. The phrase Naniwa, sorry guys, the phrase Nani Walk was coined off Naniwa for when he strolled out of the booth at one of the WCS games and did some BM across the stage at, I've forgotten now who he was versing. Maybe it was Red. I could be wrong, but no, it was Nestea. Sorry, yeah, he gave Nestea a hard time at WCS. So the Nani Walk was born at WCS, and very funny player, and quite well known for all sorts of interesting Protoss shenanigans. So pretty hard to predict just what he'll do in a game, but always a lot of fun to watch. So we see the gateway expand here out of Naniwa, throwing down his Nexus quite early, 3.5 minutes. And ForGG's Nexus is just finishing up on the low ground. One barracks into command centre. Fairly standard on Belshir Vestige for a Terran player. Quite a popular opening, and wouldn't be surprised if we see indeed a third command centre coming up in the not too distant future. Knowing that Naniwa, he will have scouted this with his SCV, and knowing that Naniwa likewise went for an early expansion, he'll know there's not a whole lot of aggression he can expect out of Naniwa in the near future. Lots of probes being chrono boost out for Naniwa, and first Stalker and Warp Gate on the way, so nothing too different. We can see that ForGG's being careful to scout all of the usual places that Protoss might hide a proxy gate or a proxy Stargate, and seeing those are free, he'll carry down his usual tech path. 2 barracks up and a third almost finished. Quite a high volume of Marines for this point in the game coming out of ForGG. He's likely to see quite a bit of pressure out of this. Tech Lab coming down, likely for Stim Pack or Combat Shield. And we'll see what Naniwa will have in place to try and defend this Robo facility on the way, and also a Forge. So likely that we're not going to see any particularly quick aggression out of Naniwa, as he seems to be teching up quite quickly. So we'll see what these two have in store. Stalker's moving out to intercept this SCV, and this Stalker will be able to clean that up, and first blood will go to Naniwa. These Marines starting to, no, maybe not move out. Oh yes they are, yep, going to move out across the map as the bunker's thrown down the expansion. Stim Pack on the way now. First observer coming out from Naniwa. It's going to give him an idea when these Terran forces will move out, and once he spots the number of Marines that are streaming down out of these barracks, we'll see how he responds. So a second tech lab and a reactor on the third barracks will round out his barracks production. We have a factory coming down now, likely to be for medevacs, as the low-level factory units aren't quite as popular against Protoss. You do in the later games see a bit of Hellbats being used, but you don't tend to see as many siege tanks and Thors against Protoss as you do against other races. That's mainly because things like the Immortal will just rip a Thor to shreds, and well, Hellions don't do a whole lot of anything to gateway units, so unless you're planning some sort of shenanigans in the mineral line, you tend not to see a lot of Hellions in this matchup. We can see that +1 armor's on the way for Protoss, fairly standard, and let's see a Twilight Council as well. So will Naniwa be looking to do some Dark Templars, or will these be for Charge Lots or Blink Stalkers? See a second observer now on the way, so Naniwa using these to just get an idea of what's going on at ForGG's base. You see ForGG preemptively throwing down a missile turret, make sure no sneaky Dark Templars can wander by the bunker there, so make it a bit harder for any DTs to sneak into the base. Dark Templars always tending to be the bane of everyone's existence. Stimpack now finished up. Combat Shield well underway. That'll finish in about 40 seconds. And we can see that these Marines are in fact moving out. So nice little timing out of ForGG. By the time these Marines get across the map, they'll have Combat Shield, +1 weapons, and they will also have some medevac support on the way. So we have about 30 seconds on the way for those. For the second pair, and we're going to have what looks like a timing attack at the front with some Marines and medevacs, and potentially a drop at the same time in the main base. So we'll see what Naniwa has in store for us. We see some High Templar already on the field. Good timing from Naniwa there. Can he get a feedback on these medevacs? No, the units are in fact unloaded. Photon overcharge on the Nexus to help clean up. Feedback to ensure that these medevacs cannot heal. Stalkers and Sentry moving to try and clean this up. We have an Archon merging in. If this Archon gets no, the Archon gets taken out. Big pick up there for ForGG. You can see these Marines doing excellent damage against these gateway units that are morphing and leaving this natural expansion exposed. There is enough for a photon overcharge at the natural. Big warp in of charge lots here to help try and clear these up. And looks like Naniwa will just be able to hold this. Excellent defense from Naniwa. Unfortunately for ForGG, he really would have hoped that these units would have hit the front just a little bit earlier. He wasn't able to. If he'd hit a bit earlier, then the large warp in that Naniwa did at the top to save his main base, all the warp gates would have been on cooldown, and those Marines and medevac would have been able to do a bit more damage. So unfortunately for him, not really getting the damage he was looking for. If we look at the units lost tab, very even for both these players. It could have gone considerably better for ForGG, but unfortunately these Marine alone pushes into charge lots and Stalkers will not do the damage he's hoping for. Medevac's likely to pick up these and evacuate, but more Marines reinforcing. Can they pick up the mothership core? That is very nice for him. It means there'll be no more photon overcharge. We can get some Marauders on the field. I'm very surprised that with these two tech labs we haven't been seeing a few more Marauders on the field, just mainly Marines. All big storms there. Big great engagement for Naniwa. Units lost tab. In fact, we do. Oh no, Naniwa's still a bit behind, so he's losing. ForGG is doing well to pick off a few of those quite expensive Protoss units, things like the High Templar. And Naniwa's actually dropped his third base, so ForGG a little bit behind there with getting the orbital command across. It looks like he's in fact going to build another command centre up here on the high ground. And see a pylon's been established for Naniwa, so he is going to delay this third base a bit longer and hopefully get his finished and mining before ForGG. So these Zealots will be a bit of a pest. Marines coming to try and clean those out, and that will manage to delay it just long enough that Naniwa will have his down at the same time. So nice little pickups here and there for both players. Nice drop in the main base. We have ForGG picking off some workers here in the main. You can see that only one worker killed for either side. These High Templars don't seem like they're doing a lot, but these feedbacks on the medevac actually do a substantial amount of damage. It means the Marines can't just sit there stimming all day long, so very important to pick up those. if these medevacs are full energy, they will in fact die. You can see they've got 200 energy and 150 life. What feedback does is it gets rid of a unit's entire amount of energy, and however much energy was removed, it does that much damage. So a 200 health medevac will take 200 damage and die quite horribly. Big drop in the main base. Not enough energy for a feedback on this High Templar. We have a photon overcharge on the main and a photon cannon with some zealots warping in. This should be enough to hold here. Oh, Colossus coming in just in time, and this drop will be forced back. So nice consistent defense out of Naniwa. ForGG playing this very aggressively, and we have some High Templars here with full storm. So I really don't I really don't think ForGG can afford to be pushing here. He's just pushing one hit into this main base. There's going to be big storms on this force. Can he? Oh, picks up some High Templars, which is nice, but unable to do much damage to the Nexus, and Naniwa will continue to hold. Have two medevacs hovering here, but you can see that Naniwa in fact can see those. Has an observer sitting there ready to detect, and this Colossus and Zealots will move to clean these up. Oh, shame he didn't get the feedback there. That would have killed the medevac. But Naniwa is going to stabilise on 3 bases, and ForGG is going to drop a planetary fortress at his 4th base. So income should be relatively similar for both players. A bit higher for ForGG due to the presence of these 5 mules, but it should level out at about even. Have a starport now on the way with some Vikings, which are well overdue. ForGG can't really engage without these at this stage. Naniwa has several Colossus in play, as you can see. Units tab. We've already got 3 Colossus on the field, so ForGG really needs somewhere between 8 and 10 Vikings so that he can try and one-shot these Colossus as the battle goes, because for every volley that the Colossus are able to unleash, it's stacks of Terran units taking massive damage. So this is why Terrans suffer against Protoss in the late game. You have Storms, you have Colossus, even Archons doing splash damage. It's quite easy for the Protoss player to just level massive amounts of damage on a Terran force. And this is a very immobile, nice, sneaky Ninja Dark Templar dropping a big storm. Lots of units taking damage there. They will heal from the medevacs, but that will keep those medevacs on very... Oh, big Doom drop into the main base. Can ForGG pick off these pylons? Still, it's unfortunately trying to path through that little gap. Archon being morphed in, that will get picked up by the Marauders, but hopefully buy enough time for reinforcements to move in and cut this off. You have forces moving around, obviously on a move command, and strolling at the back of the base. Would be really nice if they stop these Colossus from getting picked off. And 4 kills on that Colossus, and those medevacs continue to move out. Surprised to not see a little bit of static defense across this route from Naniwa. He can't afford to continue to move his army back and forth like that. ForGG will be able to exploit it. He'll do a drop in the main and push the 3rd, and all of a sudden Naniwa will find himself on 3 bases, whereas ForGG is moving up to 5. And if we look at the production of ForGG, we've got, how many barracks have we got? 5 barracks, 8, gone up to 8 barracks now, and 3 factories. You just see a phenomenal amount of production for ForGG, so he'll be able to power off these bases, and I think we'll see Naniwa in quite a difficult position. So it will depend on when these 2 death balls clash, and just how efficiently Naniwa is able to take that engagement. So Protoss able to reinforce much quicker than Terran are, but a few more photon cannons are down, but another big drop in the main is going to force, and we see part of Naniwa's force moving to the left, part moving to the right. He knows what's coming. There's quite common for Terran, particularly on this map, to drop the main while pushing the 3rd, and a scan from ForGG will reveal the rest of the Protoss army sitting there waiting. They are able to pick up those forces quite nicely, but Naniwa really needs to be able to hold this main base, and otherwise at a crucial time Terran tend to drop in and take out pylons so that you can't warp in reinforcements. So quite a lot of gateways being powered up here by not a whole lot of pylons, so taking out 1 or 2 pylons could halve the warp gate count, and that could prove to be a bit of a problem. Naniwa moving out now with his maxed out at 200 supply. Upgrades, what are we sitting at for upgrades for Naniwa? Naniwa with +1 weapons, +3 armor, so that makes his army a lot more durable than it otherwise would be. He has a lot of zealots in there. Zealots have 1 armor basic, so 4 armor on those is going to tank quite a substantial amount of damage. We have these 2 forces moving out. Nice angles for Naniwa there. The Vikings able to get a little bit of damage on those Colossus, but not enough. No, I really think the Viking count just isn't 10 Vikings, but these Vikings are so low health. 1 storm on these and the Viking count could be halved. But the Terran force in full retreat here as the charge lot's bearing down on them. The Hellbats are good at doing splash damage to those, but just have a storm on these Vikings. In fact, the count is dropping down to 7 Vikings. You bring up the production tab, reinforcements are going to be streaming in from ForGG, but Naniwa's just... Naniwa forced to tap out, and if we pause it there, we look at indeed what's happened. Drop into the main base. We see the first pylons going down, the second and third pylons soon to follow, and we see Naniwa's lost his production. So, excellent game out of both these players. Great engagements out of Naniwa. If we look at the units lost tab, we see that ForGG was able to be extremely cost efficient, in spite of the fact that Naniwa had his Storms, had his Colossus, had his Archons out, but ForGG able to be so cost effective with these Marines and Marauders. Constant drops in the main base, picking off quite a lot of both structures in photon cannons and pylons and bits and pieces, as well as units that were being warped into reinforcement. So just absolutely fantastic play out of ForGG, able to clean up Naniwa on this map, and bit unfortunate, but any Protoss players out there should be very aware that Belshir Vestige, very popular for Terrans to drop 1 base and force a third. Makes it difficult for Protoss, but some static D out of Naniwa would have prevented a good deal of that. So it's not like he didn't have the minerals. Was hovering 1700 minerals, so easily could have sealed that up a little better, so that he wasn't taking this consistent damage in the main. We can see ForGG was just trying to hold the main Protoss force, take out the Colossus with the Vikings so that they weren't able to push, and just stream reinforcements in. We see 6 Marauders, 2 Marines and 4 Medevacs at a time being produced. He just intended to meat grinder this Protoss army until it was dead, while taking out the production. So just excellent play out of ForGG. Shame for Naniwa, but great game out of both these players. Hope it gives you a few ideas to use in your own games. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead and give us the old thumbs up if you did. Hope you guys are enjoying these casts, and I have some more games out of these guys very shortly. So we'll catch you all in the next cast. Have a great day.